Rob, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, man.
Today,
Thank you
sir.
so much, Sean. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for welcoming us to the
Cheers.
Turntable. Cheers.
All right.
Very good. Very good, sir. I can't wait to dive into what you prepared for us today. Tell everybody what we're going to be enjoying during the podcast here.
This is a sake braised short rib. I took Korean ganchu barbecue sauce, or hot sauce, sorry, oyster sauce, Japanese barbecue sauce, fish sauce, soy sauce, seared the short rib, and then mixed that all together, brought it up to a boil with some onions, and then braised the short rib in that for 6 hours on 220, and took the braising liquid, brought it back out in a pan with turnips, carrots, and walking garlic, which was given to me by Kevin Hammer, who lives locally.
Oh, no
So
way.
we're it's kind of cool on the top, and then finish that with a udon noodle in that braising sauce. So this is completely off the cuff. I was laying in bed last night and trying to put all these flavors together, and I'm like, man, this might work.
Yeah. Well, let's try it out. Let's see
we
if it
haven't
works.
tried it yet.
Yeah. Definitely have not tried it.
The short rib is falling apart, which is what I wanted.
Oh, yeah.
So it was braised efficiently.
Nice and tender. You eat it with the noodle?
I think so.
Or separate?
Yeah. Try to get all of it in one bite.
All right.
That's pretty ridiculous.
That's pretty. I would say it's probably this year probably the best meal I've had this year.
Thank you.
So, dude, this is amazing.
Cheers, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Of course. Had to get a second bite there.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same real quick. I love cooking Asian food. It's become a kind of an obsession with me. I also I cook a lot of Indian food too at home.
Okay.
So really learning how to blend the spices. There's just so many flavors that you can bring out of Eastern food.
Sure.
And a lot of the way that I like to cook is building flavors, and that goes back to the education at Le Cordon Bleu. So
okay. Yeah, that's where you went to culinary school,
I
right?
did. Yep, I attended Le Cordon Bleu. And a lot of the French cooking is, building flavors on top of each other. And that's kind of the style that I've developed over the last, 20-some years, is just layering flavors. So sometimes it can be a train wreck, and you have to go back to the drawing board. It does happen. But,
sure.
Yeah, man, sometimes you get stuff like this, and it's a home run.
Yeah, it was definitely a home run. Well, speaking of Indian food, are you going to have any... What's your menu going to look like for people?
So the menu is very this opening menu for the restaurant is very comfort food based.
Okay.
One of the things that I wanted to bring to Tiffin when we decided to open this restaurant was trying to ease people into approaching food in a different way, right? So we can use a lot of local ingredients and things that people are familiar with.
Sure.
Hamburger, just basic stuff.
Right.
Burger. You'll see on my menu. There's Brussels sprouts. There's beans. There's leaf lettuce, greens. There's pork tenderloin. It's all very, very comfort food-ish. It's just done with a twist. So if you go online, it's www.tiffinturntable.com. I'm going to shamelessly give you a plug for the website.
Go for it.
You can check the menu out. So the cool thing is...
We'll link it in the description as well. So
the cool thing is the menu is always going to be evolving. So we'll keep our core items on there, and we'll see what sells. I'm assuming the burger's going to sell. I was talking about that earlier. The burger's a bison, elk, Wagyu beef, and wild boar blend. So it's very unique. Nobody's really doing that in the area.
Okay.
It's a half-pound burger, so it's I tried it just the burger. I didn't add anything to it. And it was just it literally blew my face off. My wife and I looked at each other. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. So I pivoted from the original burger I was going to do, and that's going to be our burger. So
hell yeah. Where are you sourcing the wild boar from?
Actually a lot of the beef or the blend for the burger is coming from Smith Foods.
Okay.
Here locally, Aaron
Sure.
Smith, great people. He's been phenomenal in helping me find some things. And one of the features of the Turntable is trying to source as much locally as I possibly can, which is even using local vendors. So our Smith Foods, TPC, they're a Tiffin-based company,
Sure.
even though they're pulling from all over the
over.
world, right?
Sure.
You're still using a local company. And
Of
then
course.
Reams Farms for produce, Clay Hill Farms, which is out 101. They're fantastic people as well. And then local honey, just anything I can get my hands on, really.
Local honey
that's
is amazing, too.
I
I buy local honey
Yeah.
for my allergies, actually.
Yeah, I do the same. I do the same, and it right now I'm gonna have to up my dose of local honey. I'm looking
too,
outside
right?
and there's pollen everywhere. I'm like,
Yeah.
my eyes have been puffing up in the
Yeah,
morning. So
Spring is here in Ohio, that's for sure.
yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
So you get out of school, or actually, let's go back even farther.
Yeah, of course.
We were talking a little bit about, what inspired you to get into the culinary world, bring us back to young childhood Rob,
Yeah.
and let's start there. I think that,
Yeah.
because you kind of gave us a little insight on that before, so.
My dad just recently was telling me, he's like, you've always, I would make things when I was a kid and be like, here, try this. And they'd be like, oh, what you do for kids. You're like, oh, this is amazing. And it was horrible. But I've always gravitated towards food. My grandmother was a huge influence on me, watching Julia Childs with her. I can remember watching PBS with her and watching Julia Childs. And I've just always wanted to do this. It's, you go to school and, you get in high school and you graduate, and then everybody, you go to college. That's what that's what
Yeah.
you're supposed to do. I didn't want to go to college. I knew it. But my parents were adamant about me going to college, and I did. And it was a train wreck, like I knew it would be, because that's not what I wanted to do.
Sure. How
and
many,
then
1 year did you last?
I
or
actually
two?
almost made 4.
Okay.
But I hated it.
Yeah.
I was going for education.
Okay.
I wanted to be a teacher. If I couldn't be a chef, I was going to be a teacher.
Okay.
And then it just wasn't for me, and I went to culinary school. I wanted to go to culinary school, and that was I graduated valedictor. I'm sorry. What do they call that now? It's cum laude.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I should know. I worked at a university, and that's like one of the most.
The sake hasn't even kicked in yet.
Yeah, right.
So I loved it, man. It was for me. It came natural, and I met some really good people there. Actually, one of my really good friends is a chef in Pittsburgh. He's unbelievably talented, Rich Gratzmiller. He, hopefully, I've been talking to him. I'll have him come in and do like a guest chef appearance. But you build these relationships, and we kind of went 2 separate ways after school. Always stayed in touch, but he went through, went to work for the Ritz-Carlton and had the typical like chef
Sure.
career, and worked his way up and got beat up and this and this. And
Yeah.
I kind of went into the the first job I had was in Pittsburgh in an Italian restaurant and worked for a chef. And then I went to work for another Italian restaurant, and I was the executive chef there. And it just kind of fell into me. The salesperson at the time was like, I think you'd be really good at sales. You always come in, you're always happy, you're always talking to people.
Sure.
And I was like, I don't know a damn thing about selling anything. She's like, that's what's great. Just be yourself,
Right.
And I got into this whole other side of the restaurant business, which was the distribution side, right? And I learned so much about, number one, working with restaurants every day, and it was every kind of restaurant you can imagine. So I saw every side of that business.
Sure.
And it really opened my eyes to like this whole flip side of, where food comes from. I was very lucky that I got to go tour some plants, like meat processing plants. Heinz, I went out to their tomato packing facility out in Modesto, California, which got me into like San Francisco, and then I just learned all this culinary side of things. And then that kind of you know, being a chef per se got put on the back burner at that time, but I've always had this thing where I wanted to open a restaurant, right? It's just always been in the back of my head.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, who is the brains of the operation, we've been married 23 years now.
Yeah.
I think this will be,
Nice.
23
Congratulations.
years. Thank you. The key to a long-term marriage is no kids. Sorry, I know.
Oh, man.
No. Completely joking.
Right, I know. I would say it's communication, but
Yeah, communication is that is the number one.
but we were trying to make it without not.
But she was has been crucial in getting to where I'm at now, and it was learning as much as I possibly could about the restaurant business and
Okay,
every aspect there is, and we'll kind of get into some more stuff there. But
sure.
kind of
Nice.
long.
No, that's perfect.
Long
I mean,
answer,
that's,
man.
yeah, that's what a podcast is for, right? Long form content. So, let's see. When do you have a time frame when you're thinking that you're going to open the doors to the public?
Man, that's the $1 million question.
Yeah. Well, actually,
I would open
don't answer that yet. Yeah, right. I was going to say you probably opened yesterday. What has been the biggest challenge to get the doors open to the public as you decided to start the restaurant, kind of figuring things out? What's been the hurdles of opening your own business, pretty much?
Honestly, it was remodeling this place.
Okay.
It
that's not the first time I've heard that in a Tiffin store here. So I could
needed a little bit of love. So we came in, tore it down to the subfloor, put new subflooring in actually, and then put flooring in. The exposed brick that you see.
Yep. Beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. That was completely by chance that happened. But we opened it up and. It turned out. It turned out exactly how I wanted it to turn out. I wanted it to have this look like it had aged over the last 100 years and not just
right.
Been knocked out.
For sure.
And just cleaning up the ceiling. Building the bar, building one of the challenges was working around existing plumbing and electrical because I didn't want to go through that whole mess. And so coming in here was, there was this weird bar that ran down the middle of the restaurant. And I remember I brought my wife in here and, we're both looking at it. She's like, what in the hell are you going to, I'm like, trust me, the first thing we're going to do is rip this bar out. So when Tyler gave me the keys, I literally came in, we knocked the bar down. Like the guys took it out and it was gone. And then it opened it up. And then it was this like beautiful shotgun style, space that I feel like this space could be in any city any city in the United States. But so remodeling, and then now it's like the waiting game. I'm waiting on the state of Ohio for the liquor license.
Oh, sure, that's right.
And then the health department here has been amazing. They've really poor Nikki. I don't know if Nikki if she listens to the podcast, but if she does, thank you. I would literally call her like every day and be like, "Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I?" And she's like, "Yes." But I wanted to make sure it was done correctly, and that's what's probably taking me a little bit longer to open the doors. Is you have one shot at this, so you need to make sure it's done the right way and the proper way.
And being able to share your restaurant with the community in the way that you want, and not like, I have to open because of X, Y, and Z, but I'm still waiting on X, Y, and Z. Yep. I totally get that.
I have a saying that I like to say in this industry is, just kind of evolved over the last 3 or 4 months, but mediocrity is unacceptable. And I feel like in a way that we kind of accept mediocrity when we go out to eat. And, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but I just think we work so hard for our money, right?
Yep.
We all go to work. And when you go out, there's just a level of service and a level of food that I think should be, I don't know, expected, but
like standardized.
Maybe standardized.
Yeah.
Because you spend your money when you go out to eat, and you expect to be have an experience, and
Sure.
that's kind of what I'm trying to bring here.
It's like offer an experience.
Yeah,
to,
a little bit more of a
Sure.
experience. That doesn't mean that you have to wear a suit and tie to come in here.
Yeah,
or
right.
You have to be dressed up or anything
Right.
like that. But I mean, just treat people like human beings and be nice to them.
Yeah.
I think I have a really good staff. I've hired 3 girls, and they get it. Like, they understand.
Sure.
They all come from the service industry for the most part, but
Yeah.
they get like what we're trying to do here.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important key to successful business in general, but a restaurant is having good staff.
Yeah.
And them seeing your vision and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they're working for you.
Right.
But really, you work for them, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in the it's not working for me; it's working with me.
With you, yeah, sure,
and
absolutely.
that's it's important that especially a small place like this,
Yeah.
the staff is going to be so small.
Yep.
The kitchen is extremely small. When you come in and see the kitchen, I had one guy come in and they're like, "Holy,
Yeah.
you're cooking everything back there?" I'm like, "It's a galley kitchen, right?"
Yeah.
But everything was set up. The menu was set up to be engineered that way.
Right. I was gonna say,
yeah.
did you take obviously your experience of years in the kitchen, and then you're
Yep.
kind of simplifying that process and just doing it
in my head,
Yeah.
on paper it works, but we're gonna find out.
Sure. I mean, isn't that kind of like everything, right? Like, you just find out if it works by doing it. So
Right.
can sit there and theorize if it's gonna work or not, but unless if you actually do it, you're not really gonna find out.
That's it.
Yeah.
It. And it's important for me too, that people come in and maybe can get outside of the everyday life. It gives them a place to kind of just maybe relax and take a step down. This isn't a restaurant where you're going to come in and eat in 20 minutes and leave.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Right.
I would love to people come in and just slow down, take time. The food's going to come out when it comes out.
Sure.
It's not your traditional menu where there's an appetizer, entree, dessert. It's, you order plates, you come in, and when it comes out, it comes out. You share the plates, you have a conversation with somebody.
Sure.
Imagine that.
Very communal. That's
Yeah.
one of my,
Yeah.
in my head, one of my questions while we're talking about sort of experience, food, I believe, brings people together. And so
Yes.
it's very one, especially the way that you're making the food, food's nurturing.
Mhm.
It nurtures your body, right? So not only are you using local vendors, but local not homegrown, but local grown, vegetables and stuff like that. And so you really want to be able to come in and have that communal feel and, have the conversations and while you're enjoying nurturing your body with food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just think that's important for anybody. And it's you get to slow down,
Yep.
plan 2 hours and slow down and just enjoy the food.
That's
and
it.
enjoy the,
That's right.
Community of your friends and family and stuff like that.
That's exactly right.
And that's awesome.
I had an idea. I may still do it. My wife says, my wife Brittany's like, you can't do that because, well, let me back up. So my idea is I'm going to have old school lockers out in the hallway so my employees can keep their things in the locker, right?
Okay.
But I was going to buy a couple extra lockers, and my thought was if you give me your phone, or I'll give you a lock, and you can
Sure.
put your phone in the locker and lock your phone in there, take the key, whatever, sit at your
Yeah.
table. I'll give you 5% off the menu price, just so you
Okay.
can sit down and actually have a conversation with the person.
There you
sitting
go.
across
I
from
think
you,
that's a
right?
great idea. I think
But
you should do it.
She brings up a very good point in the social media world that we're in.
Fair enough.
People like to take pictures of their food and
Sure.
hashtag things, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I'm kind of old school when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
But
for
you're
sure.
exactly right, man. It should be very communal, and it should be just time to unplug for a little bit.
So what's your favorite food? You talked about comfort food. What's your favorite comfort food to eat?
Sushi.
Sushi. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love sushi. Ramen's good too.
Okay.
You'll keep hearing me say Asian stuff
Yeah.
because that's what I love. But also, man, I really like Reno's Frankie's original pizza.
Yeah, right.
I'm not gonna
That
lie.
is a pretty good damn pizza. That's right.
Johnny, if you're listening,
Yeah.
he does an amazing job over there.
Yeah, he does.
I was expensing my receipts the other day for putting them into QuickBooks, and I'm like, Reno's, Reno's. I'm like, God, man, I eat a lot of pizza.
It's easy, man. I work right, across the street, and it's like, it's right there. It's pretty available. So
I'm really, Tiffin's. There's some really great places here. There's, I grew up in Sycamore, Ohio, which is 10 miles south of Tiffin. Very rural farming community. Mm-hmm. It was weird. We were just having this conversation the other night. Coming back here, like we've lived in a couple different places in the world. We've lived in the East, we've lived in the South. People from the Midwest are just they're different. Like they're just like, you walk down the street here and you're, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, man, you do that in Florida, good luck. You're either going to get shot or somebody,
Right.
It's like, I forgot like how cool that is.
Yeah.
So like being at Tiffin, the restaurant business here and just business owners in general, I feel like there's like a synergy here. Like Chris Chase over at Madison.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a super cool guy, man.
Yeah,
what can I help you? He comes in, if the door's open, always says hi. I go over there. He's always asking me, like, you doing good? What can we do? Mm-hmm. Johnny over at Reno's, Randy down at Clover Club, man, what a good dude he is.
Yeah, for sure.
Optometry people. So I feel like there's like, Zach and Rick and Brian from Optometry. They're just, people want business to succeed. Dave and Amber from Jolly's, they've been unbelievable too. So like I could go on and on and on.
I know there's so many great people in the community,
and it really is like you don't find that. The brewing industry was very cooperative. Brewers helping brewers and business helping business. But man, the restaurant industry, you don't find that. It's usually pretty cutthroat. So it's kind of cool to see that.
My restaurant's better than yours, sort of cutthroat.
Yeah, egos, man.
Right.
Egos. Check your ego at the door.
Yeah, some of the chefs, man.
I'm the it just it's cool to see that cooperative, cohesive,
Sure.
owners of the business working to make things better.
We always say, collaboration is not competition, and
I love that.
Almost every single podcast we've done, people talk about how they collaborate with different businesses in town to make their business succeed, pretty much, and that's just like, the proof's in the pudding. So you can't do it by yourself. You got to, have a good community around you.
That's right.
To be successful.
It's also, at the end of the day, I mean, why do you open a business? Because you want to make money,
right?
Yeah. I mean, it's what it is. So if we're all
America,
helping each other, it's America. Yes, exactly. And the to the America point.
Sorry.
No.
To me to throw you off.
The American dream is still alive.
Yeah.
People say it's dead.
Yeah. You're doing it. That's right. I think,
it's kind of cool.
Is there anything that happened during like COVID that made you push to open the restaurant?
No.
Or was this just kind of always in the back of your head and this kind of like fell into place?
We lived in Fort Myers, Florida during COVID, so COVID didn't exist.
Okay, sure.
It was the Wild West.
Yeah, it was.
I really didn't. It was just kind of, the grocery stores still. It was weird because, I was in the brewing industry at that point.
Okay.
And I did a lot of sales and I built a distribution network. So we were in a very large chain. Our beer was in Florida, and probably one of the most. It was super eerie, man. Going to the grocery store and not seeing a soul in there. Besides, you'd see one person, 2%.
Yeah.
But it kind of, to answer your question, it definitely makes you think about things differently.
Absolutely.
And it's, maybe that stop putting things off till tomorrow and just do it now.
Yeah.
Kind of
I think that's what my point was going to get across. I think a lot of people realized that.
Yep.
And then they were like, well, if I fail, I can always go back to working,
That's right.
at the end of the day,
Yeah.
and so why not try it? Why are we waiting so long to fulfill our dreams?
Yep.
And that's kind of, I did the same thing through COVID, just really took a look at what I enjoyed doing in my job and tried to find an industry that I could do those things in, and then fell into a passion pretty much. And now I get to sit with cool people like you. And
that's probably debatable in all 50 states. Let's be real, Sean.
Yeah, fair enough.
The cool part,
Sure.
But yeah, I completely agree with you. It's, man, do what you love.
Yeah.
I know it's easier said than done, but really it's not.
Yeah.
You know, people are like,
it's a bit harder than just going through the motions each
Right.
day and
Right.
clocking and clocking out. But I think the payoff in the, during the hard times is way more worth it.
Yeah, I
in
agree.
my opinion.
I do agree. Yeah, man.
What outside of cooking, anything that you enjoy doing? And
I love being outdoors.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. My wife and I obviously having a restaurant called the Turntable. I'm a music guy. We were talking earlier about the vinyl.
Yeah.
I love vinyl
Sure.
records. I have a pretty nice system at the house, and I've built over the years. And I had a really a gentleman influenced me from Fort Myers. He was my neighbor. Just the guy knew everything about audio equipment, music. He was
Okay.
just a super cool guy. John Forrest, God rest his soul. He kind of pushed me down this thing of the music. I was a music guy, but got me into this vinyl thing, and man, it just took off. And I had this massive record collection when we sold the house, so I had to downsize, and it's like, how do you pick your favorite kids? It's like, how do you,
Sure.
Trying to get that collection
Yeah.
down to a manageable collection. So you'll see that here in the restaurant, with we'll be spending vinyl, and a lot of that most of it will be our my music.
Gotcha.
And then what's talking about the collaborative part of this is
Yeah.
the Market 22,
Mhm.
and then Under the Surface. They've been Jacob, and they've been super cool.
Yeah.
And Josh hey, what can we help you out? So I think that they're gonna probably have some bins in here of records to
Sure.
sell.
Okay.
So
Nice.
hopefully.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
They're great guys. We did a podcast with Jake at Under the Surface Records,
Yeah.
and when he was in his old location, so now I'm like, well, he moved, so now it's time to spin
Another
back around,
podcast.
probably at the end of the year, and do another one.
But yeah,
And-
we just, my wife and I we love food, we love eating, we love going out, being outdoors, spending time with family.
Yeah, you were talking today and earlier this week that you were out mushroom hunting.
I was.
It's about that time of
Didn't
the
find a
season.
damn
thing. That's awesome. That's awesome.
But yeah, spending time in the woods, man. Being away from it for as long as I did, it's kind of cool to come back and be able to do that. We have a family farm out north, and we have some woods out there, and it's just cool.
Nice.
I just like going out there and sitting,
Sure.
honestly.
Yeah.
Went deer hunting for the first time in 23 years, I think, with my brother-in-law. Once again, didn't find a damn thing.
Yeah.
I went bow hunting. I don't know
Yeah.
about gun hunting, but yeah, man.
Anytime,
Being back to nature.
anytime someone asks me, "Oh, do you hunt?" I always say, "I do." But have I ever killed anything? No.
Yeah.
I sit in the woods for about 3 years now. But
Yeah, no.
but that's part of it, just out enjoying
Yeah.
nature
Yeah.
and listening to the trees and just
It's
waiting for that moment for some beautiful animal to walk by you.
Yeah, you're exactly right, man. I give you a fun fact. During COVID, I ended up, how I got into this once again, it was just kind of self-evaluation. But I actually am a Vipassana meditation instructor. I went through a 3-year
really?
program with Jack Kornfield and Tara
Okay.
Brach and the Dalai Lama. And
pretty neat.
I'm not a Buddhist, but I learned, man, talk about learning how to slow things down.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the greatest things I've ever done.
Seems pretty interesting, to be honest.
Really put things into perspective.
I bet.
Yeah.
That was kind of the first thing that when I started going to like counseling and stuff like that, he was talked about being like present.
Yep.
And how much your life changes when you can be in the present moment and just like enjoy that single moment or second in that, like I do a lot of walks with my dogs and stuff like that.
Same here.
And, the birds, I love listening to the birds. And it's like there's weeks that went by, if I'm busy at work or something like that, that I'm just like walking my dogs because it's like a nature of habit and I'm not hearing anything. I'm just walking the dogs.
Yep.
And then there's times where I'm like, holy shit, there's like so many birds outside right now. It's like, how do I miss this? I don't get that. But it's just like being present in that moment and really like, is that kind of like what you learned?
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Being present. A lot of it breath work and a lot of just like,
breathing.
I was never very anxious or anxiety driven, and I don't really. My wife asked me 2 nights ago. She's like, "You never worry about anything. Like, have you ever worried about stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, you do, but like, why waste your energy on it? You can only control what you can control.
True. Very true.
And it's, you can't get fired about things that you have no control over. So just take it as the present moment. And
yeah. And my biggest thing was like acceptance.
Yeah.
And just like accepting that as a fact,
Yeah,
it's like the
exactly.
hardest thing to get over is that like, it's not in your control. So like,
Yep.
why are you getting worked up over it?
That's exactly right.
And
man.
it's like,
Yep.
it was one of the hardest things for me to learn.
Yeah, it really is. But every morning I try to sit for 20 minutes and meditate. And it's been huge. I mean, it really has. It's kind of, I don't know, man, you really put things into perspective. I used to, be the guy that was driving down the road, and I don't get fired up. I'm just pretty laid back by nature anyways.
Yeah.
But I do have my points. Everybody does.
Sure.
One of my biggest pet peeves is people that don't stop for people walking in a crosswalk.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, Tiffin, Ohio, please stop when I'm walking
Right.
across the crosswalk. Like, pedestrians have the right of way, right?
Sure.
But I used to get mad and be like, you son of a bitch. What is you? Now it's just like, just take a breath, and
Right.
it's really learned. It's taught me to take a pause.
Sure.
Take a pause.
Yeah.
Before you react.
Yeah.
There's
like other, I taught this for my students when it came to like, not trauma response, but like responding to an incident on campus and stuff like that. Like, you have no clue what that person's last 24 hours looks like.
That's right.
And so somebody that, isn't letting that person walk across the street could be 15 minutes late to the hospital because their, spouse is in the hospital.
Yeah.
You have no clue, right? So it's like,
that's exactly right.
You're getting fired up over something that you don't even know.
Yep.
It's again, kind of like the control thing. Like, you don't even
Yeah.
know what's going on in that person's head. So
I love to tell, and this is a short story. I love to tell this story though, because it's one that, oh my gosh, I'm losing the name right now. But anyways, one of the meditation teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh. There's a Japanese fisherman.
okay.
He goes out to fish and gets out in the bay, and he wakes up in the morning and it's like super foggy out, right? So he gets in his boat and he's like starting to go out, and he hits a boat, and he's like, oh, you son of a gun, what, goes a little bit farther, hits another boat, and he's like, get out of my way, you asshole, this, and this, and it just goes on, and while he's trying to get out. And right when he gets out, the cloud lifts, and he turns around, there's nobody else on the boat. It's just him.
That's a pretty good story.
That's us.
Yeah,
it's like
for sure.
You're always trying to blame somebody else or do this or this, when actually just kind
It's
of,
just, yeah.
It's you.
Yeah. You're the problem.
You're the problem.
Well, Rob, I
Yeah, man.
appreciate you
Yeah,
welcoming
this
us into
is fantastic.
Turntables
Yeah.
and cooking us food and having a great conversation.
Yeah.
I look forward to eating here many, many times.
Awesome,
So,
man. I look
bringing
forward to
bringing
seeing you.
good people in and
Yeah.
enjoying what you have here. So
Awesome, and thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for doing this. I'm so glad we
course.
connected.
Yeah, me too, man.
And also, congratulations here coming up.
Yeah,
and have
a few more weeks.
The first one.
yes, sir.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Man. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank
All
you.
right. Hopefully, we'll see everybody at the turntable.
That's right. Take care, everybody.